on the road to the World Challenge. We are on the road to the World Council in Colorado. This is YPod. I am AD Davis and I am joined by Gareth.
Hello Adrian, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I am great.
And this is the first podcast for the YMCA world. And we're quite privileged to be bringing this to you. But it's not our hard work, it's everybody who's contributed to hard work. So let's just put that out there straight away. Who is this for? Anybody who's in the YMCA movement, anybody who has an opinion, a feeling, a story, who wants to share. This is a digital platform, a digital space for you guys to have that voice and for us to echo that voice. Pretty simple. I think that's it, isn't it, Gareth?
I would say so, Adrian. Yes, we're very much keen on getting everyone's voice as much as we can on this podcast. You know, hashtagging and, you know, getting your responses as the weeks go on.
And of course, as we build towards the World Challenge, we're going to be right here, just making sure people know about it, know where to get the information and where to sign up. So, you know, it's about giving information, but it's also about enjoying and listening to others. So hopefully some things will inspire you, some things will challenge you, some things you might not agree with. You might even learn something. So our first segment on this brand new podcast is a segment we're going to call 60-Second Movement. And if you've never met Gareth, well, we used to work together and he had a reputation of being a bit of a know-all. And I challenged him. I said, listen, you know, since you know so much, come onto the podcast. You've got 60 seconds. I will give you a country and you should try and talk as much as you can for 60 seconds about that country with correct information. Now, here's the thing. I don't have all the information. But when Gareth hits that 60-second mark, a klaxon will fire off. And then it's up to you, the movement, to, you know, tweet in, email in, leave some messages and say whether his information was correct or not. Because I'm not a YMCA encyclopedia. So last week before we recorded this, I told Gareth his first country to speak about was New Zealand. So Gareth, are you ready?
Ready, right. Put 60 seconds on that clock.
Okay, we're going to put 60 seconds on this clock. And the time starts now.
New Zealand YMCA. It was founded in 1985, with the first YMCA actually being in the capital, Auckland. Became a full member of the World Alliance in 1886, along with Australia. New Zealand and Australia formed an association and worked together a lot, forming joint conferences in Australia. And they actually formed a joint national council supervising the work in both nations for around 30 years. Some of the early work in the Kiwi movement was around Christianity, around Bible studies, prayer groups, and services for the people. But this work quickly progressed into what it is now. There is now 12 affiliated associations which operate 48 different sites in New Zealand, offering programs which are focused on 4 core values of honesty, respect, responsibility, and caring. Some of these include Why Gymnastics, Why We Dance, which is an awesome name, which, unlike conventional dance schools, You're kidding me?
No, my friend, that was 60 seconds.
That was never 60 seconds.
That was 60 seconds.
I've had a chance to talk about some of the great work that New Zealand does.
Well, and I'm sure if people want to find out about more about the great work that New Zealand does, they can via visiting the website, by going through World Alliance website. But I'm afraid you've let the people of New Zealand down this week.
Badly! I've let you down badly. Absolutely. Check out their website, which is ymca.org.newzealand.nz. But like them on Facebook at YMCA New Zealand. And there's tons of Twitter accounts out there, so you can check out what sort of things they're up to. But yeah, they do loads. They do swimming. They've got out of school care. They do lots of, you know, training for young people. I'm going to sneak this in by being unconventional and just mouthing off as we go along.
Well,
I'm sorry, New Zealand.
Good job, Gareth. I mean, I think it's difficult to talk about a movement in 60 seconds. It's difficult, but you did well. You did well for your first attempt. So let me set you a different country for next week, if that's okay.
Please, and I'll do better, I'm sure.
Okay, so next week you're going to talk about the good people of the US of A. Is that okay?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Great stuff. So 60-second movement will be back next week. Gareth, what's coming up next?
So what we're actually doing is we're also going to be broadcasting interviews that we do with different people in the YMCA movement. And the first of these interviews is going to be with a Spanish change agent called Sara. And then following Sara, we're going to be doing another segment we have on the podcast where we give people a chance to tell us their story. And this week's story is from a young lady in the USA who, to help you guys out at home, is also called Sara. And this is going to come up right after this.
Hi, I'm Yulia. I'm from YMCA Ukraine. You're listening to YPod.
Okay, today I am joined by my friend Sara from YMCA Spain. Sara, welcome to the show.
Well, hello, good night.
Are you okay?
Yes, I'm okay.
Very good. And I'm joined by Sara today, who is one of the change agents for YMCA Spain. But before we get into that, Sara, can you just tell the listeners who are the change agents?
For me, change agents are young people representing the whole Europe, and they are leaders for others.
Okay, so just Europe or the whole world?
The world.
The world.
But, yes, but all the people I met were from Europe.
Okay, good stuff. And how did you become a change agent?
Well, at first, I didn't know it exists. It exists, and one of my director of one camp offered me the opportunity to be a change agent. I asked, "What's that?" And then he explained me that it was becoming a part of a group of young leaders, that I have to travel a lot and receive a lot of formation and training, and I decided to say yes.
Fantastic. So what kind of things have you done as a change agent for Spain? What have you done so far?
Well, I started by traveling to Manchester and meeting the Yes group, which was an amazing week of training. And I also started the leadership program in my local YMCA, and we are working with leaders, training them, teaching them English, and we are making international contacts.
So the change agents are also taking a lead on the World Challenge in various countries. What are you doing in Spain, Sara, for the World Challenge? You want to share with us?
Yeah, sure. We are preparing a lot of activities in different local YMCAs. And for example, in my YMCA, we are going to do an activity which is called Open. The YMCA is open for everybody. And we are going to show pictures about our activities. And we are going to put like a stand, like in Prague. And we are going to put it there, the papers for sign. And we are going to show everybody our work and put pictures and do activities, healthy activities like a race for the children. And we are going to introduce Prague and our international movement.
Fantastic. And there was a lot of change agents at the Prague Festival, was there? Can you tell us more about that? What happened in Prague?
We received a lot of training, and we started to settle our vision, and we become to be known because we made a show last night, on Friday night, the last day of the festival, and we started to make groups for work for the World Council.
Wonderful. So the change agents, they're going to have a role in the World Council, or?
Yes, a special role.
And can you tell us more about that, Sara?
Yes, but just a little bit because I want it as a surprise.
Right,
We are going. We are going to be really, really important because we are going to be the leaders of groups, and I don't want to say anything more.
Okay. And for you, what's been the best thing about being a change agent?
The best thing is first believe it because I couldn't believe it that I was chosen, and then the opportunities this program is given to me because I can travel, I can meet a lot of people from other YMCA's, I can have an abroad and spread vision of the YMCA, and I can compare and taking ideas from others.
But it's not all about just travelling, Sarah. So there might be some people listening who are thinking, I quite want to be a change agent next time. What advice would you give to young leaders who are thinking about maybe applying to be a change agent next time round?
They have to work a lot. They have to go to webinars. They have to receive a lot of training. They have to think and believe in what we are doing. And they have to have open-minded. They have to be open-minded.
So when you say that there's a lot of work, can you just describe to the listeners what these webinars and what these assignments are like?
Yes, for example, we had work a lot in leadership, and we had to do reports and assignments talking about our leadership gaps or our journey as being a change agent, and we have to apply it in our YMCA locals, our locals YMCA.
Great stuff. That sounds really good. So I guess my last question is, what advice have you got for young people who are listening to this podcast?
I will tell them, be the change you want to see in the world.
Stealing a quote there. No, that's great. So Sarah, you were one of the people that I met, and you really kind of inspired me. You were so full of life, and I just want to thank you because you're one of my favourite change agents in the whole world.
I know.
And I know that not everybody likes dancing and performing, and that when there's such a huge group of change agents, it's difficult to meet everybody and to talk to everybody and to have connections with everybody. But it's been a very good process, and hopefully this is just the start.
I hope so too.
Well, thank you for joining me today, Sarah. And if anybody's listening and they want more information about the change agents or upcoming change agents or anything to do with the World Challenge, head to the World Alliance website where all the information is there. And I just want to thank you, Sarah, for joining me today.
Thank you, Heidi.
And I will see you in Colorado.
Of course.
Hi, my name is Sara Mcmunn. I work for the National YMCA headquarters in the United States. When I think about my Y journey, I realize it isn't so much about me as it is about the people I've met along the way. See, I really believe we're all just a reflection of our experiences, and if you work for the Y, you know that it's truly the people that make our experiences so special. I'd like to tell you a little bit about some of my experiences and about the people who have really shaped me into who I am today. I like to think I carry each of them with me in everything I do. My Y journey started when I was 6 years old at a small Y in Wisconsin. It's where I learned how to perform CPR, swim, and play piano from Mrs. Music. It wasn't until I grew up that I learned it wasn't actually her name, but that's what she wanted us to call her. And maybe that's because of how much she loved music. I don't know, but what I do know is that she took a little girl who did not want to learn to play piano and somehow made me love to play hot cross buns. I remember she'd dance around in class while she was teaching us the notes on the scale. I'm certainly no concert pianist now, but I do still know how to play hot cross buns from memory. As I got older and started saving up money for university, I got a job as a member service representative at that same Y. Every day after school, I donned a hairnet, plastic gloves, and a name tag, so I could proudly serve up frozen pizzas, coffee, and switch out the CO2 tank in the soda machine. It wasn't as glorious a job as the title made it sound, but it did give me the chance to meet Isabel. Isabel was a sweet little English grandmother who would bring her grandson to swim lessons every single afternoon, and then sit at my cafe, sipping an Earl Grey tea. She did it religiously. She'd spend that half hour telling me stories from her youth. I always loved listening to what she had to say, and throughout my 2 years working there, we became very close. It was only after she stopped coming to the Y because of her battles with cancer that I realized that she had become my bright spot, the thing I could always look forward to. I never got to say goodbye to Isabel. I can only hope she knows the impact she had on me. It's funny how sometimes life brings you back to where you feel most at home. Because 3 years later, well into my college career and far away from the Y I grew up in, I eventually found myself in a new Y in Madison, Wisconsin. This time as a youth development director. Like my last job at the Y, I met more people who shaped who I've become while working there. One of those people was Matt, my supervisor, whom I had come to see as an inspirational mentor. He's the kind of person who would devote endless hours to his work because he loved what he did. To him, the Y was far more than a job. It was a career with purpose. It was investing in the community. It was learning about and uplifting other people. I knew I wanted to love my work the way Matt did, and I knew I could do that working for the Y. So, after a tedious post-college job search, I found myself landing, where else? At the Y. This time at the national office in Chicago, which has been home to me for 6 years now. And it's been amazing. In the past couple of years, I've had the opportunity to manage an annual nationwide conference for youth, develop culturally immersive curriculum for and lead trips to Peru, Brazil, and now Senegal. I've helped in the founding of groups like the Emerging Leaders Resource Network and the Advancing Developing Emerging Leaders Group. I also serve as a mentor to Y staff all across the country, helping them along their career paths and professional journeys. At the end of the day, all of this work is about nurturing and developing the future leaders of the Y. Leaders like Vanessa. I first met Vanessa at our annual leadership conference. She was a program director at a small Y in Ohio. And she was the kind of person whose passion for life and genuine desire to work with people was awe-inspiring. She later joined us on the trip to Peru. Peru was her first time out of the country, and I could see the transformation that happened inside her as she absorbed the new culture we were immersed in. As the trip facilitator, not only was I able to shape the learning environment for our group in Peru, but I was also part of the conversations that helped our group process that life-changing experience. I continued to develop a friendship with Vanessa, learning her strengths and the impact she aspires to make in her career. I want to see her achieve her dreams, and I continue to work with her in finding her voice as a leader and in finding the confidence she needs to succeed. 2 years later, she currently serves as an associate exec at a large Y. She has more responsibility and makes more impact on her community than ever, and she's only started to realize her full potential. Every day, I get to help people like Vanessa become stronger leaders, and more importantly, help them find their own voice and confidence as individuals. Looking back, I think I'm doing what I was born to do. Learning about people, learning from people, and helping them thrive and achieve their potential. For that reason, for me, the Y has never been just a place to work. It's always been a place to experience the world and the people around me. From the music teachers dancing through piano lessons, to the grandmothers waiting for swim lessons to finish, to the Matts working long hours for the love of the mission. They all play a part in shaping who I am, and it's humbling to know that what I do every day makes me a part of so many other Y journeys. I'm Sara Mcmunn, and that's my Y story.
Hi, my name is Andy, and I'm from YMCA Ireland, and you're listening to YPod.
And that was this week's My Story. And so now we're moving on to a new segment in the podcast, Ask the Movement. And so every week we'll ask the movement a question and ask you to give us the answers, essentially, of what you think. So, Adrian, what was this week's question?
Well, this week's question, Gaz, was how much have the village people impacted the YMCA movement?
Okay.
And we got a lot of people took part from all over the YMCA movement. People from Armenia, Australia, Canada. A lot of people really got involved, which was excellent. Got some good answers and some okay answers, to be honest. So I'll just go through some of the best ones. There was a lot. So okay, so a lot of people answered this really honestly and took it, a bit personally, which was quite funny. We had a lot of people saying that the village people put the YMCA on the map.
Okay.
Interesting that the movement started in 1844. Yeah, a song from the 80s put us on the map. Some people put much. Some people thought that it certainly helped gain popularity when the video came out and it made the YMCA a household name. It would seem that at many conferences, as a staff member that I'm asked to go on, we actually end up either doing or dancing to the dance. So
I mean, that's pretty much my experience of it as well.
Somebody was bold enough to claim they brought the YMCA to the dance floors. Somebody else put loads. I mean, who knew about it before then? Which is interesting because personally, I think the YMCA's working during the World Wars was what really made us a household name. But
absolutely. I mean, in particular, you have to remember that there were movements all around the world in the first 10 years of its formation. So it is debatable how much the village people really impacted or really spread the news of the YMCA. But it's up for debate.
We had somebody wrote big time. People may not know the why, but they know the song. Again, that comes into Waking the Giant and all these things.
Again, that could be seen as true.
Yeah. Somebody put terribly. I work as a party supervisor for my YMCA, and I work on average 10 parties most weekends, with 30 kids at each one. I don't think there's a time when I haven't had the kids come up to me and ask me just for the song, or just to do the famous YMCA dance hand symbols. On the other side of this, though, it has made a very beneficial impact on our Christmas night out every year. You see, I don't think there has been a time in the last 3 years and 10 months I've worked at the YMCA that my whole team have got up and asked the DJ to play the Village People's song. Keep in mind, we were all very drunk at this point. And I think that it has made the annual Christmas party a lot of fun. I do thank the Village people for that one, and without their song, I would just sit there. But now every year we are the life and the soul of the party. So thank you. I think it's nice. It's nice that people have took a lot of time to answer these questions, and there's no need to thank us. We're not. We have nothing to do with the song. So good. Being used there for staff and team bonding, I guess. And
yeah, I think my thought and my points on it is that the song has given all of the YMCA an anthem. There is a song that is uniquely ours. But yeah, I've had many experiences of the song being there at times where you think, I just wish it wasn't. Remember recently a colleague of mine, when she got married, she specified that the YMCA was not to be played at her wedding, and I and a colleague of mine, we had a little speak with the DJ and said, listen, she worked for the YMCA, you need to play that song. And so the DJ not only played that song for us, he played it for us about half a dozen times, which I'll admit, by the fourth time, it got a bit, tedious, shall we say. And for the guy, the party planner, I would possibly speak to your employee about having some form of health cover, because hit that Y, the M, the C, and the A. There's a repetitive strain injury waiting to happen there, bro.
In the original video, they actually don't do the YMCA with their hands. It was actually added in later just because it became this party anthem.
Yeah, no, I did know this. A friend and a colleague of mine in Ukraine actually has a version of the song in Ukrainian, which she sent over.
Fantastic. We'll have to get that.
And she never uses the YMCA. She never goes YMCA. She never uses it. And I spoke to her about it, and she said she sort of improvises a dance every time. And I thought it was quite interesting. But yeah, sorry, it's still on this song in Ukrainian. I actually played it for my colleagues back in Bolton, where I work. And one of our young people, when he heard it, says, "Oh, is that the Minions?" And I was no, that's Ukrainian. That's Ukrainian. So,
So
I don't want to say to people in Ukraine that you sound like Minions, but I'd say that because you don't. But according to one of my young people, right.
Yeah, and we need to, first we had to reclaim the song back from the Village People. Now we have to reclaim it back from the Minions. But
What Minions?
Anyway, the comment of the week, Gareth, this week. Somebody wrote in and said, "I am a member of a big city YMCA with only a few village people." So that's all I've got for this week, Gareth.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And so we'd like you to continue to give your answers on social media using the hashtag YPod, and we can have fun sharing and listening to some more of your comments. I think that's it for this week, isn't it, Adrian?
That is it, to be honest.
Okay, so any last thoughts, Adrian, before we wrap up?
I think the thought of the week, Gareth, for me has to be that even though we do have this YMCA song, the people, use it and embrace it, and I think that's good.
Yeah, and I would echo that. If it is the perception that this YMCA Village People song was our genesis, then I think it's the responsibility of everyone in the movement to point out that it isn't. There was a YMCA before it, and even if you're in a country which movement started, we're now going to say post Village People. We'll work out an acronym for it later on. I don't know. Just like post Village People. Even if you're in the movement post Village People, the one thing you have to remember is you're still tied historically to Sir George Williams and the Genesis in London. So never forget that. The YMCA wasn't founded by the Village People. The YMCA was founded by our good friend Sir George Williams.
Fantastic. And I think we'll leave it there, Gareth.
Sweet. All right then.
See you next week.
Yeah. Goodbye, Mr. Adrian.
Goodbye.